Good afternoon, gardeners. It's Saturday, July 31st, and today I'm going to do something wild, crazy, and potentially offensive. I'm going to defend Miracle Gro products and clear up a few garden myths centered around the company Monsanto in the process.
If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell to receive new video notifications, and check out our Amazon storefront and spread shop in the video description for a list of the gardening products I use and awesome custom designed apparel and other gear. Your support is greatly appreciated.
I want to begin this video by making a very clear statement. I'm not here to tell you which brands to support. While some products and brands are superior in performance and ethics than others, I respect everyone's ability to do their own research and find what works best for them. Everything in life is a trade-off, and there are no perfect products, so I'm not here to judge your own practices. I'm just here to provide some facts and hopefully dispel some myths along the way. Now, that being said, lots of people in the gardening community loathe the company Monsanto, and frankly, a lot of the fear and loathing is warranted, but some issues need to be cleared up. First, we need to talk about the brand Miracle Gro. I've used Miracle Gro products in a number of my videos over the years, and every time I do, I usually get some blowback for using a Monsanto product, but that is not actually correct. Miracle Gro is not owned by Monsanto. Miracle Gro is owned by Scotts. When you purchase Miracle Gro, you are not supporting Monsanto, you're actually supporting their competition. So if your goal is to avoid Monsanto-owned brands, Miracle Gro is still on the table. Now, it is true that some of Scotts lawn care products incorporate the Monsanto product Roundup in them in a partnership agreement that they have, but these are very specific products and not applicable to these Miracle Gro soluble fertilizers that come in these little boxes right here. Now on to Monsanto. Monsanto was actually purchased by the company Bayer in 2016, as in Bayer Aspirin, that company. It was actually a disastrously entertaining merger and a good lesson on how not to buy a company, but I digress. The name Monsanto has been discontinued, probably due to the terrible reputation. So in reality, you're actually supporting Monsanto by buying Bayer products, because that's who they are now. For all of you out there not looking to support Monsanto, seriously, check your medicine cabinets, because the brands and products under the Bayer portfolio are enormous. By avoiding Miracle Gro, you're not hurting Monsanto, but you may be stunned to find out just how much you're supporting them by purchasing pharmaceuticals. If you're trying to avoid buying Monsanto products, you should really check out Bayer's portfolio of brands on their website. Now, you may be saying Scotts isn't exactly the finest, most ethical company out there either, and that's a fair point. However, I now want to take a moment and explain why I use and will continue to use some common off-the-shelf gardening products like these. The first point that I want to make is that in no way, shape, or form are soluble fertilizers like this Miracle Gro product right here harmful to you, your plants, or your garden. These soluble fertilizers have been given a bad reputation because they're often called chemical fertilizers, but all fertilizers are chemical fertilizers. Organic granulated fertilizers, just like this one here, are chemical fertilizers too. The big difference is the origin of the raw materials. The soluble fertilizers, like this Miracle Gro product right here, primarily derive their nutrients from urea, ammonium phosphate, and potassium chloride as their sources of N, P, and K, whereas the organic fertilizers primarily derive their nutrients from hydrolyzed feather meal, manure, bone meal, alfalfa meal, and sulfate of potash. One source allows them to legally classify their fertilizer as organic, and the other does not, but they are both processed chemicals. No matter which one of these you choose, you're putting chemicals in your garden. Now, the benefit of the organic fertilizers, like this one here, is that the granules are consumable by the native soil microbiome. The worms, bacteria, and fungi in your soil eat this stuff, so it helps build healthier soil over time. The downside is that the worms, bacteria, and fungi need to eat this stuff and excrete it back out to be usable by your plants. This stuff in its raw form is not available as nutrients for your plants the moment you use it. When you put this organic fertilizer down, it isn't immediately usable by the plants, so the soil microbiome has to slowly break it down over weeks and months. These soluble Miracle Gro crystals, on the other hand, are immediately usable by your plants. It's already been processed into forms of N, P, and K that the plants can immediately uptake, so it begins working in minutes. While the Miracle Gro product won't feed your soil microbiome like this organic fertilizer will, it won't harm it either. For best results, you want to use the two in tandem as a bit of a 1-2 punch. The Miracle Gro begins feeding your plants immediately, and the granulated fertilizer that's organic improves your soil and feeds the microbiome and feeds the plants slowly over time. That's why you usually see me combining the two fertilizers in my videos. Now that we've established that none of these fertilizers are harmful to your garden, let's address the big elephant in the room, and that's the environmental damage that fertilizer companies can cause. Yes, it's true that there are environmental costs to the processing and usage of fertilizers, but this is not exclusive to companies like Scotts and Bayer. Some of the worst runoff problems are due to irresponsible practices with the usage of manure in commercial organic gardening and fertilizer processing, so organic operations are not necessarily all that much better. So what do? Well, we face the facts. Existence requires consumption. As long as we exist, we are going to have to use resources. What we have to do is manage our use the best we can, and here is how I have personally decided to do this. The goal of this garden channel has always been and will always be inspiring people who don't garden to begin gardening, and to inspire people who have small gardens to grow bigger and better. The worst thing that we can do for the environment is buy processed food-like things and the cheap, low-quality products we find all over the grocery store. Anything we grow in our own backyard is going to be better for our bodies and for our health. And in the process, we aren't supporting massive food processing companies and enormous commercial agricultural operations. So what I'm saying is, one of the best things that we can do for the overall health of the environment and the overall health of our minds and bodies ourselves is to simply have a garden of our own. If you start outlining all of these conditions that must be followed in order to garden in the most perfect way possible, you will chase away new gardeners. Starting a garden is very intimidating, and the way you attract new people to this lifestyle is to make it as simple and as inviting as possible. So let's make it simple. For your first season, just go and buy yourself a couple of tomato plants at Home Depot and a box of Miracle Gro and give it a shot. Make it simple so it isn't overwhelming. And you know what? Many new gardeners will fall in love with the success, and they will want to keep growing. After the new gardeners gain some experience, now maybe we can discuss incorporating some better practices, but you can't do that from the very beginning, or you'll just chase people away by making things too complicated and scary. I didn't build a garden like this overnight. I started small, and I worked my way up as I gained more experience and more confidence in myself and my own abilities. Besides, backyard gardeners using Miracle Gro aren't hurting the environment. The people causing damage are the giant monocropping operations and food processing plants causing mass fertilizer runoff and dumping byproducts into our streams and waterways. Using a tablespoon of Miracle Gro in our watering cans is as harmless as it gets. So let's just do the math here. A single $7, 1.5 pound package of Miracle Gro is enough fertilizer to grow 3 tomato plants, 4 pepper plants, a squash plant, and a cucumber plant all season long. Those 9 plants can easily yield 50 to 100 pounds of food over the course of a season. For a little box of Miracle Gro, which has almost no environmental footprint, you can save buying 50 to 100 pounds of produce from the grocery stores that comes from these food processing plants and monocropping operations that are really causing the damage. In my entire garden, I probably use about 1 box worth of soluble fertilizer this size a month. And what is my reward for all of this? I buy next to no produce from April to October, and I'm able to keep growing cold hardy greens and root vegetables all winter long too. Aside from odd things here and there, like buying carrots and celery at this time of the year when it's too hot to grow things like that, I buy little grocery store produce overall. Overall, I cut my produce purchases literally 90% during the summer by growing my own food. And I cut it in half during the winter versus how I used to consume produce back in my college days when I couldn't really garden much because I lived in urban apartments. Think about all the good that does for such a small amount of fertilizer, and then multiply it by everybody just growing a little bit. All you're doing is buying a little box of this, but you're growing so much food in return, and overall, that's so much better for the planet. And yes, I used to buy crazy amounts of produce during college, which probably isn't normal. So I just wanted to take this time and hopefully clear up some misinformation out there, and also to explain why I do what I do. I'm not telling you to use these products. If you don't have to, then don't use them. It's just wasted money, and there's no reason to consume them if you're not using them and everything is working for you. I'm simply saying, don't be afraid of using them. They're not harmful when used properly. And also don't disparage anybody for using them as well, because they really do work very well. Just remember, there is no perfect system, but we cannot let perfect be the enemy of good. We're never going to be perfect, but that doesn't mean we can't do better. So let's do the best we can and have some fun along the way. So everybody, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe for future updates and more videos like these. If you're curious about any of the products that I use in my garden, they are all linked in my Amazon storefront down in the video description. If you're interested in any channel related merchandise, that's also linked in my spread shop down in the video description. Thank you all again so much for watching, and we hope to see all of you again on the next video. Mommy Dale and I have been watching Zach George videos, and we're trying to teach Dale a new trick. Let's see if Dale can do it. Dale, down. Dale, roll over. Yeah! You did it, buddy! You did it! That was perfect. First try. Oh, you're the best. He's such a smart boy, this guy right here. He's the smartest. Okay, Dale, let's see if you can do it without treats. Dale, sit. Down. Roll over. Yes! Yes! That was great. Can you do another? Roll over. Oh, almost hit the couch. Roll up. Okay, try this way. Roll over. Oh, you're like Zoolander. You can't turn left. Oh, let's try it one more time. Come here. All right, sit. Sit. Down. Roll over. Come on, roll over. Oh, that was pretty good. Oh, I think he's done.